right, 6:30, we'll start the meeting. Let's see, so we do have 2 executive sessions on the agenda. Does anyone have a need for another?
One that was scheduled, I believe, is not going to be here.
Okay, so
We can just remove one of
Okay,
those.
all right, so we'll remove one of the executive sessions, and add in, Otter Creek Watershed Insect Control District. Any other need to amend the agenda? Can I have a motion?
Motion to accept agenda as amended.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, anything on the, meeting minutes of April 2nd? Everything looked fine to me. Okay, town manager's report?
I just wanted to point out in your packet, I had a article from the New York Times. It was called "They Scoured the Northeast for a Space They Could Live and Work In." They actually did pick Pittsford. They're in the old Ferraro house.
Oh, they did pick it?
Yeah, and the woman, Melissa, is very, very nice. I've met with her several different times
Yeah.
about different things.
They did pick the Route 7?
Yep, they did.
She's been here for a while, I think, getting
Well,
the house ready or
the-
something, because I've
yeah,
seen her
the-
at the library and around Village Farm and.
About a year probably now she's
Yeah,
been here.
okay.
And then she moved here from California. She's a very nice lady.
Oh, so it's not a recent sale, it was,
No, but they made it sound like it in the article, but
yeah.
they did pick
That's what I-
Pittsford in it. She's very, very nice. I have not met him yet.
What's their plan, Ann?
I think weddings, right? Like a wedding.
I'm not sure. She's been
destination.
talking to Jeff on some stuff. She's also looked at buying adjoining properties to maybe be able to do something bigger with the property. I don't know her full plans.
This is the one right in the village?
Yeah, the one that was Ferraro's, that was the 2
House.
houses.
Yeah, the
Um,
old,
By,
Yeah.
what is
The
it, Blackberry
Blizzard
Lane or
yeah.
something?
Oh, there.
Used to be
Okay.
Blizzardorf's
So, to
Yeah.
use that back
print shop there.
part, it's a fairly big piece of land.
Down back?
Down
What's
back.
Blackberry,
Yeah, it is,
Blackberry Lane,
Yeah.
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 isn't it private?
Blackberry Lane, I believe, is a private
Yeah.
lane. But there's not many houses on it, and 2 of them have been vacant for a while, I believe. So, she's looking at trying to get a hold
Two-way
of
down in.
the landowner of those 2 properties. So,
Parking.
Oh, is that what you were thinking about parking?
Yeah,
Did that place long.
oh, yeah.
That's way back.
Well, we'll let them deal with that.
Something in town going on.
Yeah, I know.
So, we did the moving of the offices April 3rd. A huge thank you to our highway department for taking the day to help with the massive move. It only took like 3 or 4 hours to get everything moved between the 3 offices, which was a minor miracle, I thought. We only had one major computer hiccup because we were missing a coupler
Whatever that
Connection.
is, sure.
split or something. I don't know. Sillaway finally came and fixed it today, which was great.
You mean from actually having to physically move the computers?
From
Is that-
actually physically moving all the
Yeah.
computers and everything, the only thing that we're missing was like one little splitter thing.
Okay.
In the end, but she had a whole bunch of random stuff under her desk and it was way above my pay grade. So I was like, Sillaway needs to come in and figure out what's actually needed and what's not under there. I did attend the town manager administrator luncheon at Regional Planning Commission on April 10th. This was the day after the select board meetup. So we were discussing the shared assets conversation that the select board meetup had, as well as projects upcoming in each town. Dolores Getcha has started as the assistant town clerk payroll administrator, and I hear she's learning very quickly, which is great to hear. The new bookkeeper, her name's Stormy, will be starting April 21st to learn as much as she can from Pat before Pat's retirement.
Is that the first or last name?
Her first name's
name, okay.
Stormy. I honestly can't remember her last name.
Okay.
May.
May?
May, but it's spelled weird.
Stormy May.
It's not like M-A-Y, I think it's M-A-E or something like that. But she seems very nice.
Okay.
The staff have asked about bringing back the employee barbecue that
yeah.
stopped the year I started,
I know, that
that
was
we never
fun.
had
I
it.
don't know why we did
Good
stop
time.
that.
It used to be
So,
good.
John used to do it.
as long as the
John
select
always did.
board's okay with it, I'm planning on bringing it back and making.
The old town
employees happy.
managers do all the cooking.
maybe that's why that stopped, because John was the grill master.
Yeah, he
and
was the
then
grill
Since
master,
he's been
John.
gone,
Yeah.
you'll have to find another one.
I have no problem cooking or grilling. Yeah, I know. But it was funny because the highway guys came to me and they're like, we used to have this thing. And I'm like, yeah, it was before I started. They're like, we'd kind of like to bring it back. I'm like, okay, I'll find out. I have no problem with it.
So wait, did you say you have a date for that already?
No, I'm
Oh.
going to work with Liz. It'll probably be in September. So once all the camps are done and everything.
yeah.
It'll be a little bit cooler because some of us fair-skinned people don't do so well in really hot weather.
You know there's a whole pavilion there, right? We keep
I
it
do.
Out of the sun.
I do. Banners have been ordered from the Vermont Covered Bridge Society for Covered Bridge Week, and I'm going to be working with a winning image for the one on the Village Green, as we discussed at the last meeting. Belden was able to pour the concrete for Bridge 108. It's in the curing stages, and they're still working in between the barriers, trying to wrap up that side of the bridge. I know that they're pushing right along to try to switch traffic over as soon as possible. It's looking like the first part of June potentially
Okay.
for the switchover. And Marskowski Excavating has been working on hooking up all of the lines on the new sewer main on Plains Road. They've been trying to keep it just daytime road closures. Last night, the road ended up being closed all night long due to some complications with a couple of connections yesterday.
Did that have anything to do with the Congo Church? I saw that
No,
they...
the
that's the-
Congregational Church is the sewer.
Sewer thing.
The sewer
Oh.
line is broken there.
Okay.
And we knew it. We had to wait for Green Mountain Power to be able to hold the power lines there. And with the ice storms right after we found the line break,
Oh,
we had to
okay.
wait to be able to be scheduled in with them.
Gotcha.
I don't know how that turned out today. I
Looked
haven't,
like they were wrapping it up. so
Yeah,
I
it
don't
looked-
know.
well, I know that they dug in two different spots,
Yeah, they did. They had to
so.
go up on the further end.
So I'm
I don't know if
thinking they
finished it.
probably found another, which
spot.
Sean was afraid they would once they cambered it, because what they did was they went in, fixed it, then cambered further up to see what the
Yeah,
next
they were
section
digging up
was.
Further, so.
Yep,
Who did
Sure,
the
that's what they
excavating?
found.
Markowski's.
At the church?
Yes, because it's 9 feet down. And with all of the,
So if we were to get an excavator.
We don't have an
we'd want to
excavator.
dig 10 feet, right?
Yeah, get one that'll go at least 9 feet. Yeah,
Had to do that, didn't you?
I knew that was coming.
there's gonna
There's a
be,
bucket truck to hold up the power pole.
Yeah.
That's after the excavator, I think.
Yeah.
the staff meeting, I'm gonna hold a staff meeting April 23rd at 9 AM to introduce new staff to all employees, so that,
April 23rd?
yep,
What time?
9 AM to Thursday, because that's when most of our staff is here. I found a company that will serve our condensers and evaporators for our heating and cooling system, and I'm going to be scheduling that to be cleaned because I don't think it's been done since I've been here. So, finally,
Thanks for picking up on that.
not a problem.
I know, because we talked about it quite a
Yeah, we
bit
did.
at some point, but I guess...
I thought we had someone come in.
No,
We were gonna look into it.
Oh,
think
this
it
was
might
a
have
while
been-
ago. This is when I first came on, we were talking about it. Yeah.
Well,
I
they've
think it was-
broken down that we were talking about,
Was that it?
Yeah.
All right.
and we patched them up and then we forget about them. And it
So-
seems to be the MO.
So yeah, it definitely needs to be done.
it needs to
Patch
be,
repair,
Until they
ignore it.
break again.
it
Yeah.
needs to be cleaned. A lot of us are having breathing issues in the building, and we think a lot of it has to do with the
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah.
filthiness. I mean, these filters have been changed. Dave changed them like a week and a half before he left, so they were changed fairly recently.
Okay.
Someone had asked me to price out an option for temporary pens for dogs. I have pricing. I think it was you, Dan, that might have asked about temporary pens. So I have pricing so we can go over it after the meeting.
Have to possibly hold a
A
stray
dog, a stray dog.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, you
why are
guys
we
weren't
doing
here, I
that?
don't think.
Yeah.
When that came
No.
up before, Christie found a used one that's collapsible.
Okay.
That was like half as much as, or less than a new one. And bigger than the one they were looking at.
Okay.
So, I don't know
You,
if it's still.
you and I can get together and try to
Okay.
figure it out.
I know collapsible would be good.
Yeah.
It would be. Well,
Take
the
up
one
a lot
I
of
have is just, you can drive the pins in to hold the panels
Oh,
to
okay.
build
Okay.
it, and then you can just pull the pins out and just stack them up.
Okay, yeah.
Thing, at the time, we were gonna try to set it up indoors and also have a cover on it. Cause a lot of these animals
They're
jump out.
Jump, oh yeah, they're,
Okay.
that's my
That-
jumpers.
Well, then I'll have to,
Well, okay.
I'll meet up with you and we'll figure it out. Regional Planning Commission has asked to come May 21st to our select board meeting to go over the 2026 regional plan with all of their maps and everything. They want to know if you would be willing to meet at 5:30 or if you want to keep your 6:30 time frame. I've gotten emails from you guys going both ways, so they're just looking for a response on that so that they can plan what time to be here on the 21st of May.
I thought we should just keep it at 6:30 and just keep the agenda light, just for the sake of continuity of always meeting at 6:30.
Time of year is a little tough to get here at 5:30.
I know.
Whatever you wanna do, whatever you wanna do. I'll do either one.
I can go either way.
Me too.
Doesn't matter to me.
So yeah, so when you're making the agenda for that week, just
Make it a light agenda,
yeah,
yeah.
unless there's something
Put it
like
off.
super pressing, you know.
I don't foresee anything super pressing. I'll be coming back from vacation the week before, so
Yeah. Okay.
I'll keep it light. And I'll tell them 6:30. They're expecting about 45 minutes, but if Logan Solomon comes to give the presentation, I'm betting he'll be done in 25 minutes.
Yeah,
That boy
fast
is
talker?
a speed talker.
All right.
Regional Planning Commission last night, I had a hard time keeping up with that boy. He's a great guy, but wow. Peter Katie's widow, has asked to notice former clients that she has all of his records, and if anybody would like to come and pick up their old real estate title information or whatever, she'd happily give that to them.
Okay.
She's got it stashed. People can reach out to me. I have her phone number and email, and it's also on our website. Because she would really like to get rid of the boxes upon boxes.
Had Peter passed?
Yeah.
Peter passed.
Yeah, just recently.
Yeah.
We had quite a few people pass
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Regional Planning Commission tomorrow night from 6 to 8 p.m. They're having an Act 181 training so that people can learn what Act 181 is.
I'm planning on doing that, and I got the email that has the link, so I don't think I had to actually.
You do not have to
register, right?
RSVP or
Okay.
anything. You can just show up.
Is that
You show-
5:30?
It's at 6, from 6 to 8 at Regional Planning Commission, or you can do it online. If you go, they're giving you pizza. In person, I know.
Evelyn Street?
Yep, 16 Evelyn Street. Regional Planning Commission's also wanted to start having people mark their calendars that they're doing an open meeting law training on May 7th, and they'll have more information coming. VLCT did one today that I watched most of it. I got interrupted a few times with computer stuff up and down the hall. I'm gonna rewatch it, and I have the slides if anybody's interested in that presentation as well. And Regional Planning Commission said the next select board meetup will be in July, and they're looking for a town that might wanna host it. I think that's all I've got.
Okay.
So we're gonna keep that select board meeting on the 21st
Yep.
at 6 o'clock, at 6:30.
Yep,
Alright.
and I'll notify Stephanie of that.
All right, any questions for Ann? Any select board remarks?
Yeah, I've had complaints about the road damage on Truck Route, where they're running machines in and out for that solar field. I saw they've gouged the road.
Oh, really?
I assume excavators or something. Looks like today when I went by, they finally widened the entrance, so maybe they're unloading off the road now, but it looks like they've been unloading and loading right in the road.
Chad looked at it the other day and didn't see the damage, but I'll send him back up, because I know that they have been bringing in more equipment, because I've gotten, a couple of people telling me.
It's not right where doesn't seem to be where you drive, because I haven't felt it, but
Yep.
it was brought to my attention, so I slowed down tonight, and there's some pretty good gouges in our new asphalt, so.
Okay.
That's terrible.
Did they post a bond?
They didn't, because I believe that was an existing roadway.
We might want to approach
So how
them
does that
immediately.
work?
Most of the time when you have a construction, you request a bond so nothing gets damaged.
Right.
And a lot of times, when they're bringing big equipment in, can require. I didn't know if there was one in the process or not. If not, we should request one immediately.
I think the way this town works is the only time that we ever have a bond is if they're putting in a new driveway, not for, or if they're going like underneath.
do
the
any-
road.
Contractor,
You
what
can do
happens?
anything you want with a bond being set up with a contractor. I've done it. You just tell them, I gotta have a bond, the damage is already happening, and
Okay, I'll read,
otherwise it's a cease.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Is this the same- array that's on the east end of the truck route, right by 7?
No,
Close to
no,
7?
it's down,
It's on that back field.
just before Otter Creek on the right. Buzzles.
Oh.
Barn side of the road, out in
I'll-
there.
I'll reach
So I
out-
assume
I'll
that's
I think if
what
you
they're doing
approach him,
out in
man,
there.
you can negotiate something with
No,
him
I
pretty
know,
quick.
I know the owner, so I
Yeah.
can,
Who's the contractor?
Hunter Excavating,
Oh,
down at
yeah, you-
Londonderry.
Yeah, you should be able to have a
Yeah.
conversation. They're very
Yep.
company.
Good.
Yep.
Is that it?
That was it, yeah.
Well, Dan and I went to the last select board meetup, and that was really good. Yeah, I know, I like that they're gonna have those going on regularly. And then I texted Chad a couple times during it, because we were across the street from a few of the guys from the select board in West Rutland, and we're talking about how our guys had helped them with roadside mowing, I think just last year, and they weren't sure if kinda like they'd reciprocated.
No, we had contracts, we actually did it 2 years ago for West Rutland, last
Okay.
year for Proctor. And what we do is we give them a rate for man and equipment per
Okay.
hour.
Yeah.
Keep track of the hours
Yeah.
and bill them.
I just meant more like he was talking more just like, what can we, if we needed anything, what could they do to help us or whatever, so.
Yeah.
But it's just really nice with some of those smaller towns, and there's.
Major conversation was around sharing assets
Yeah.
that they call it, graders. Talked about buying graders together. I'm not so sure that's a great idea.
Which I did, that was one of the things I texted Chad about, was like, hey, do we want to borrow a grader? But I think he said we were supposed to get it back on Friday, did we?
We were supposed to get it back on Friday, we did not get it back on Friday. He was calling Tuesday to find out where it was, and I saw him briefly today, but I forgot to ask him
Yeah.
where we were at with the grader.
Do you know what was done on it, Ian?
I don't know entirely what was done on it. I know the last time Chad talked to the gentleman, he was waiting for 2 more parts.
Jeez,
But I know Chad was starting to get really frustrated
Yeah,
that we don't have it back. He gave it to him last fall,
Yeah.
expecting
I
for him to
understand
work over
this-
it last
this
winter.
mechanic is using the same excuse to a lot of customers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Good guy, I think he's
Just
too
a little-
busy. with no
Over
help.
his head. Yeah.
And it's big equipment, so sometimes it takes 2 hands, and I don't think, or 4 hands, and I don't know as he has 4 hands to do the job sometimes, by my understanding.
Do we have a backup plan for,
We could send
Our-
Dave Mills up to help him.
But really,
He's got school vacation week coming up.
hey,
Good point, Ken, you're on it, yeah. Is everyone too penciled
I'm
in?
gonna be in Idaho, so good luck catching me.
all right, anybody else have anything? Any public comment?
I don't have any public tonight.
No, no public, not
Seen
even
it.
online.
Oh, no, no.
There is one person on there? Oh,
Yeah, but it's.
converting back to the meeting with the other select boards, maybe we should check with Chad to see if there's anything in the way of equipment that he could use the next time we have this meeting.
I
Yeah,
did
well-
check with him, and he said right now he doesn't,
Pretty good.
he's in a pretty good spot, other than trying to get our grader back. But he said that he's actually really good about communicating with other towns a lot of the times, if something was to happen.
That's
But he
good,
would
yeah.
let me know if there was a need.
okay. And I think there was some, I think there was some talk of having, I'm assuming Devin was kind of gonna be spearheading the, kind of like a master list for all the Rutland County towns of who has what equipment,
It's
to possibly,
It's actually part of our emergency plans. We list
Yeah.
all of our equipment in our emergency
Okay.
plans.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't take much for Devin to pull that
Yeah.
page
That's
from
where you
everybody's,
Oh, yeah.
pull it from. Yeah.
because they're all part of our LEMPs.
Weren't they gonna, a few years ago, Tom, do that?
They were gonna have it's almost like a mutual aid
Yeah,
agreement we
yeah,
have with
yeah.
fire departments. I mean, we know what every town's got for equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you'll set up like the other night in Chittenden. If that mutual aid probably went the best ever, that house was saved because of the way we do mutual aid. It was
Yeah.
an automatic response from Chittenden, us, and Rutland Town, all at the same time. That tone went out to everybody at the same time, if they hadn't gotten there when it did, we'd probably lost that house.
Jeez,
It
yeah.
was
But that's also
fantastic
kudos
stuff.
to your telecommunicators
Yeah.
too.
Yep, and dispatchers. The dispatchers have to know how to do it. Sometimes we got some excellent ones and sometimes,
Who makes
Sit
that
there.
call, Tommy, to call in the other departments? Like this was.
dispatcher, that's automatic. Normally, if it comes in structure fire, we have.
It's an SOP, isn't it?
Yeah, standard operating procedure.
Has been.
Yeah, which makes sense, because you can always cancel them.
Right.
You know,
Oh, you do respond,
oh yeah,
The structure.
leave the house and everything?
yeah, until they tell us to back off or hold in station.
Good deal.
Because this way you've got people, especially in the middle of the night. You know,
Sure, yeah.
you've got that time delay, and by the time you get there, it's sometimes too late, so.
They
No,
did that.
time
when
is
Our barn
most
was on
critical.
fire. They did. We had 5 towns show up before we could call them off.
Oh my
Yeah, I'd
goodness.
say, yeah, boom. And
Yeah,
even though some of them sat there the other night but hey, and then turn around and go home.
sure.
And it's the same in the middle of the day too with
Oh,
people that are
yeah,
working.
your shortage of daytime people sometimes, they're working out of town. So, you know, it's not like it used to be years ago, a lot of people were working in town, now they're working out of town.
Right.
So, well, it's working well.
All right, let's go into old business. So we have, police cruiser and body cameras.
So Chief did bring to me in full disclosure another company this week that he thought we should try to look into. I went on their website, I did some research, I looked through the quote they sent, and I honestly don't feel comfortable going with them.
No?
They,
Okay.
Their quote did not include any setup, it didn't include any support, and they weren't gonna be uploading anything to the cloud, so we were gonna start having server issues and having to
Oh.
buy a new server and that kind of thing. So although it seemed like it was gonna be much less expensive, I think in the long run, it might have shot us in the foot if we'd tried it. And I don't know as they have anybody in Vermont that they're currently using, or very few. So
Okay.
it was a little different. I did talk to Bill about it today, after I did some research. So unfortunately, Motorola seems to be it. We didn't find out from Motorola yet if they'll go up to the cloud or not for what we currently have, but if they won't, we bought the storage thing to hold what we have, and we'll have until we receive these cameras.
Okay. So the yearly subscription fee doesn't include uploading to the cloud? It's not part
It
of
will going forward, but right now we're sitting on about 6 terabytes of video,
Okay.
that we need to figure out how we're gonna store it. So we had talked back and forth with Motorola, and we haven't got confirmation whether they would be willing to upload all of our old data up to the cloud too, or if we're gonna have to store that here. But that's the only,
All right.
thing here.
How long does that have to be stored for, ever, or is there?
So all of the videos have to be reviewed. Some of them can be deleted because either nothing happened or it was minimal, or it's gone to trial, done and over with. Criminal, some of those have to be kept indefinitely. Some of them have a 7-year life and some have a 5-year life.
Stuff to keep
But
people
as software becomes obsolete, it's gonna be harder and harder to watch those videos too. And that's been, I guess, a topic of conversation within police departments and the state and government, you know. But, I mean, we're doing what we can to be proactive and hold what we can.
Right.
But all of our cameras right now that are in cruisers and on people are pretty much full. We're waiting for that new, I'm gonna call it a memory box, to be able to dump off from what's being held already, cause that storage is full. And then we can dump everything that we have on all of our cameras and then dump it to this memory box. And then we're gonna take the server, dump that to the memory box, and then once we clean up the memory box some, can have it so that the server and the memory box have exactly the same things on them. I've been talking to Silhouette, and it's the best way, so that if something happens to our server again, which it has happened in the past,
Got the backup.
Yeah.
we've got a backup.
Yep, makes sense.
And the backup will not be stored in the police department, it'll be stored elsewhere. Just in
Yeah, it
case.
should be separate
So,
location.
I did go ahead after our last meeting and order, I'm gonna call it the memory box, so that we'll have that as the backup
Yeah, okay.
even if we can't upload what we have to the cloud, we'll have it securely backed up.
And do we know if there's any grants out there for this? Did we?
There are not currently. Motorola was trying to find out, but so far we haven't even heard of any upcoming.
Okay.
And we're at a point now where we're at a tipping point. We can try to wait a little bit longer, but we have cameras that are starting to fail, so I don't want to wait too long
No.
before we don't have functioning cameras for our officers. It becomes a safety and liability issue.
And how many is this for again?
So it's for 6 body cams and 3 cruiser
I
cams.
guess I don't see the number anywhere.
It's on page 4
Oh, I see where right under quantity.
is the in-car system. And page 3 is the body cams.
Okay.
And we're hoping by moving to the cloud rather than the server, the on-site deployment and configuration and project management may not be as much as quoted, but we're not 100% sure yet on that.
I'm taking it the quote, was what you voted on in the last meeting?
They didn't vote,
We
they
didn't
waited
vote.
for full board.
We wanted
We
full
waited for you
board.
guys.
We waited for you guys.
We didn't want to make such
Right.
a large
You ready to
purchase
jump on
without.
this one?
So I
No, I
guess.
was just wondering. No, I was just wondering where we were. I was kinda in
We
the.
better wait for.
So why are there's some? I mean, it's like it's so 6 cameras, right?
Yep.
But then like I don't know. So on
So-
line 7, what's that? That there's some things that are only 1, but then there's only 6 batteries. Well, 6 batteries and but 9 learner subscriptions. Why would-
Because you have 3 for the cruisers and 6 for
Six
the
for the
Okay,
bodies.
okay.
6 plus 3 is.
Line
That's the-
7, there's only 1 because that's
Didn't know.
line 7,
Part
there's
math teacher, you know, up there.
only 1 because it can hold 8 slots. So with 6 cameras, 8 slots would be enough
Okay.
for the charging and transfer station.
Okay.
How long does it take to get these things? They give you
I have not gotten an ETA. I am assuming it's gonna be at least 2 months.
Yeah, look at yours, cause I don't have any of this
Well,
data.
probably.
It was in your,
Wait a little longer.
I put it in the back of your packet, cause it was in last time's packet.
Yeah, and then,
Yours was like a giant binder clipped packet.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he got it.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
It's got one of these on it.
nope,
Okay.
didn't have anything. That's why I'm confused.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's it right
It's all right, Ann, you can leave me out a little bit.
Me too. It was not intentional, I promise. I have another copy in my office and you can have it after the meeting.
I just wanna look. Oh,
Yeah.
No, they're expensive, but we also
Not cheap.
It's not like it's not a want, it's a need, unfortunately.
And the only good thing is this year, even without budgeting for it, we've got the build-in income that can
Yeah.
offset
At least some of it.
the
We're almost
costs
close
for
to
this
another
year.
year too, if we can get into next year's.
Next year's budget.
Well, we will because next year, we end this year,
Right.
June 30th, our
July.
fiscal year starts July 1, so that can help
Yeah.
too.
Is this directly from Motorola, or is
Yes.
there is directly through Motorola?
Yes.
Who does the installs then?
Motorola sends out a team to do it. They have a team that comes out to do it.
And that's involved, and that's included in the
Yeah,
cost.
that's the 16 grand,
then-
Item for that
okay.
somewhere.
And
line
then-
20.
I know, I'm just like saying it out loud for people who are watching.
Yeah, it's-
And then, so,
It includes extra batteries, it includes the install kits and mounts that we need for the vehicles, the wiring.
warranties, the warranties on these?
It covers warranties. There's actually a 5-year extended warranty. So what happens is, depending on the year, if it's the first year, they'll try to fix it. If it's year 3, you're just gonna automatically get a new one.
Yep.
Kind of thing. It comes with the video managers so that we can have the video manager on the computer so that they can watch these videos. And if it doesn't need to be uploaded to the cloud, it can just be deleted at that point.
Okay.
It does come with the holsters that they need for their
Yep,
vests.
okay.
That's the line 6, the jacket mag mount thing.
So all this equipment has 5-year coverage?
5-year warranty, yes.
So that's basically our expense over 5 years spread.
So our 5 years, yep, so if you look on page 5,
It's
it's
not-
broken down.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, yeah.
11 grand a year.
It's still scary.
Oh, yeah, it's all.
So, you know, it's a lot of money.
It's a
but-
lot of money, but any other
Can't
company
send
we
guys
found
out without it.
doesn't really
Not
work in
anymore.
Vermont much, and that kinda scares me. I don't wanna be the
Wasn't part of
guinea
the
pig.
original grant.
About 11 grand over 9 units is just over $1,000 a unit a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, broken down like that, I guess it's much more manageable.
Cheaper all the time.
It's a veritable
swallow.
bargain.
Consider,
Too, yeah.
No, I don't think so.
consider the income that the
Yeah.
department's producing, how can we ask them to work
No,
without
I
it?
know.
We
No.
can't-
You
And
can't.
it's legally, they have to have
They
them, so.
have to.
More liability.
Yeah.
than-
Well,
Liability
exactly.
would kill us if something happened, we
I
didn't
know.
have
Yeah,
it.
this would be nothing compared to what that would be.
Oh, I guess so.
So,
So I will make, to speed this along, I will make a motion that we agree to this $74,500 over 5 years or whatever it is.
We'll second the motion.
To get these,
Get them in,
body cams and car cams.
second it.
any further discussion or questions on?
The motion said over 5 years, is it paid over 5 years?
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm clear on that.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, back to the old public nudity ordinance.
Here you go.
So it appears we will be the 3rd town in Vermont to have one. St. Albans approved one.
Oh, did they?
On March
Way to
17th.
go, Snowball.
Interesting,
Um,
on St. Patty's Day nevertheless.
Or it might have been the 18th, but it was
Yeah.
right around there. Kathleen Ramsey from VLCT sent me a copy of theirs. I liked the wording better. I think it was much clearer with the Brattleboro one, so I did
Okay.
not change the one that you previously had viewed.
You said you didn't change
I did not change
Okay.
anything. It
This
was
is
exactly
the
the
one
same.
from Brattleboro, isn't it?
It,
Well,
well,
it-
it's Brattleboro tweaked to Pittsford. I got rid of a couple of things that I don't think we will ever see in Pittsford that are in Brattleboro.
VLCTs you thought was
No,
better?
VLCT sent me one that St. Albans just did. St. Albans one is pretty cut and dry. It doesn't have as many definitions, and I think the definitions are what are needed to make it clear. And I did go back and forth with Kathleen Ramsey from VLCT, and I expressed my concerns with the other one, saying I really liked the definitions in this one more. It made it so that a breastfeeding mom's not gonna feel like she's breaking an ordinance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Right.
So unfortunately, I have to ask a question.
Okay.
As I read through section 3, I didn't think it was clear. And it discusses the public areas, I get that. It describes private land out of view, but nowhere does it say anything about private land in view. And that seems to be the issue that I've heard around town, that it may be on private land, but it's in full view of neighbors and people walking by. So I'm unclear.
That was the issue.
Yeah, I don't see
So-
that written in here.
So I can make a number, section 3, number 3, and say on private land in view of the public. And it's gonna be the same as what number 1 says, nudity is not acceptable and prohibited,
Public locations.
right?
And that's the problem is, from what I've heard from the people that have brought this up,
Right.
that it's much more about public viewing on private
On
land.
private lands, it's actually
Yeah.
viewable in public.
But they do up, in section 2, under the definition of prohibited, public location does address streets, sidewalks.
It does, but it doesn't describe somebody, if you have a person that lives
On
next
their
door to a
front
house,
porch.
and they have to go out in their front driveway and look at someone naked
Yeah,
standing next to them,
no, I
that's
know.
in view of the public.
I guess I was just thinking that coming
Yeah.
closer to the street somehow addressed that
Well, I was hoping it
Private,
would, and I
yep.
read it too many times, and I really got tired of reading it. So that was gonna be my suggestion, we make it clear
Yeah.
that, and
Okay.
I'm all for the private land out of view, that's anyone's business,
I
but
just don't know what the.
if it's in public view on private land,
know.
it's gotta be,
Right.
gotta be
Did
stated.
Gary say anything about the legality of that? I mean, like, cause you know, private property is private property, but when it's in view of neighbors or.
He read this
Passersby.
and said he had no issues with this. I can change it to say on private land in public view.
Who is he? Gary, okay, all right, Gary, yeah.
Sorry.
I just didn't know if it was
Yeah.
clear for what I understood the issues to be.
So like I said, I can make a number 3 on private land in public view and take what's in section 3(1) and make it,
I'm just wondering if the
Well,
group feels that's how we should address it, so.
Is it a state law or is it Montpelier that I believe still says if you leave your private property entering public property naked, there's nothing wrong with it?
Yeah, but
This
we're-
was all over the news every year when
Right,
they
you're
do
like,
it
you
at
can
the
be
State
naked in
House.
public,
Right,
you just
but you
can't
can't-
undress.
you
it.
can't undress
Dress
in
in
public.
public, right.
Is that a law, ordinance in Montpelier? That's where it happens, when they have the white
have
thing
This
at
is
the
our, this is
State
our
House.
town ordinance, it, you know, it
So
hasn't,
But if
So-
it's a state law, we can't.
no, no,
But-
it hasn't been
I had the
challenged.
these
Vermont.
will supersede that for the town by what I understand, because that's why Brattleboro adopted the ordinance they adopted, because, they had a lot of negative nastiness going around in the late
Yeah.
90s with it,
That's-
and so that they did their ordinance to supersede state law so that they could control it, because when I was a senior in high school, downtown Brattleboro was like a nudist colony. So, in order to clean that up, they enacted their ordinance that they had.
That'd be great.
That, which is what we're,
Yep,
we're trying to do. And
Yeah.
no one's, yeah, it's held its ground, so.
Yeah.
I just wonder what the group thinks, cause I think that was what the concerns were, I just wanna make sure that we,
Well, right, if we're gonna go through all this to adopt
Yeah,
this,
you
we
might
don't
as well
want it
include
to
that.
Might as
be
well-
not
it's-
actually
There's
addressing
no
the
harm in having
problem.
that in there,
public
that's for sure.
view, private or public land.
Yeah, let's just see about, check with Gary the
We need to
legality
check
of
with Gary,
that.
but definitely,
Okay.
If
I'll
it's in
change
public
it.
view, we just have to have that, cover
I
that.
think that's what the problem is.
That is what the
Well,
problem
it is the problem.
Right,
in multiple locations, so.
okay.
That's the only thing I have.
No, yeah, thank you, no, I think it's good to, let's just keep tweaking it until we get it to
Get it
where we
right.
want it to be. Okay, zoning administrator alternate discussion,
I still haven't found one.
okay. All right, that was quick.
I put it out there to all of the planning commission and none of them jumped on it. Unfortunately, when ZBA met, I had to leave for a family emergency in the middle of the meeting, so I didn't get to the end of the meeting where I was going to approach them.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
So,
Just keep looking, or keep, yeah,
I'm gonna put it out there, on our website that we're looking for that
Okay.
as well.
all right. Okay, so, and then the final old business was back to the Otter Creek, watershed insect control district, where we did vote last meeting to, adopt the proposed amendment, but I guess I'm a little confused again, I know you told me, right, but
So-
now just remind me exactly what happened.
Steve Belcher said that he felt like, and I think I had in your packets both ways, like what they had on their meeting minutes and what they were proposing to adopt. He believes we received one that was a draft and not their final revision for their Article 5. So he needs us to adopt this version that I included on the backside of the email to make it legal.
Yeah.
And they, the Watershed Insect Control District has asked the town of Pittsford to do a revote.
Okay, so it's essentially the same thing,
Same
but
thing,
just,
only-
just as a formality or
official one.
technicality, let's just, if we could please revote on this
I move
one.
to adopt it.
Any further discussion, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, new business, covered bridge camera options, which, we have been talking about actually for some years
Years,
now, and
many
our
years.
poor bridges have been getting hammered, and cameras would be great, so we can actually potentially hold people accountable if they're good enough to get a good license plate image.
So I had a conversation with, a woman, Joanne, from T-Mobile, And I included their 6 different cameras that are all, Wi-Fi, or they basically cellular cameras. Most of, or some of them are solar operated because we obviously don't have power to our bridges as options. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention, tell you this is kind of what's out there. It's something for us to think about because we have had discussions since I started here about cameras on bridges and what we think, and
And you said this was T-Mobile?
T-Mobile.
Do all of our bridges have T-Mobile service at them?
So
Question.
I asked that and she said,
They do?
she said that there's great coverage in this area, and I told her I don't know because I don't have T-Mobile. So it's one of those things we can try it, and if for some reason it's not functional for us, we just need to let them know that it's not going to fly.
Okay.
I honestly don't think this looks like that bad a deal when you go down and.
Oh, it's
look
not
at
a
what it's
horrible deal,
about.
no, as long as they work there.
I would say if we got it with a stipulation that we were covered, I think that might be something, at least we should try on a couple where we've had issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
These aren't that bad.
And I didn't even think, did we discuss asking Proctor? I think we, didn't we just
It's on
maybe
their
see
end
if
of
they
the
would
bridge.
wanna split at least one of them with us for Gorham?
I can ask, I don't know if that was a conversation
Yeah.
done with a previous
If
town
not, I
manager
mean-
or not.
Now, are
and
we
they've
talking a
gone through
camera
couple
on
too,
each
so.
end of the bridge? Cause they're coming from 2 different ways.
No, I
One
know.
camera may not pick it up
Well,
one way and it
I
might
think that
the other
they put
way.
them in, there's one that's, cover 360, isn't there?
Saw one of those, I thought.
And put it in the middle. If that,
does that
if
mean it moves with the motion? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple.
I don't know, it's one of those that, does it twist by
does it
itself?
have
Or does
two
it have
ends?
2 ends?
Excuse me.
Oh, I
Cameras on
see.
either side.
There's a couple of them that rotates 355 degrees and have a 140-degree tilt.
that's,
I honestly don't
There's
know.
only,
I honestly don't know much about these. I can reach out with more questions if we have them.
Yeah, because I'm already thinking like, where I've seen cameras on other covered bridges, they're usually in a pretty, like, inconspicuous spot.
yeah.
Which means though, would that then make the solar panel part of it, like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, yeah,
They
you
can
can't,
run a
you wouldn't
wire
be able
up
to
the
have it in the
panel.
bridge.
Well, that's what I'm
No,
saying,
it's
so,
solar,
which is
no.
where they usually are, so, you know, just to kind of like not wreck with the, kind of really mess with the aesthetics of the bridge. But,
I'm sure they could be mounted high enough in the peaks so that you wouldn't even notice them probably.
Well, yeah, but you still gotta have a solar panel.
You still have a solar panel
It's gotta
somewhere
be
that's-
outside,
To get, yeah.
facing
To
a
get the sun.
southerly direction to get.
Those
The
can be
sun.
remote, the panel from the camera.
oh, can't, yeah?
Yeah,
Well,
by quite a distance.
yeah, you can have
Yeah,
or.
you have off the side where you wouldn't even see it.
Right,
Oh,
going into
okay,
it.
I see.
Yeah. Are some of them just strictly battery though, too, the long-lasting batteries?
All of these are
They are.
solar
Well,
panel.
Yeah. They make them to have a long-lasting battery too, I think.
Yeah, well, this last one, right, or what,
Yeah.
this one has, it's solar
Is that
panel
in there?
also, and also has a
Right,
battery
it has
for,
batteries.
Yeah.
I wonder how the,
I'll put you in mine right here.
How many bridges have we got?
4,
4 bridges.
3.5.
Well, 3.5, yeah, I got.
Yeah, because
Gorham's
Truck
half ours.
So 5 cameras. I don't know, you'd have to do 10 cameras worth of, if you were putting them on each end.
Where'd this come from, Ann?
this came from T-Mobile.
Have we
Would
had
they-
more trouble with one than the others? Has it been this one down here more?
So, actually, Gorham, I don't wanna jinx it, but I can't remember,
No, Gorham's been
Having-
hit.
Gorham's been
Yeah.
hit.
Gorham's
It's been
been hit.
hit.
but not like Depot.
Oh, Depot gets.
Depot is the one that gets
That's
slammed the
gets
most.
slammed.
But I suggest that maybe we start with Depot and
I was
see
gonna
how
say,
it goes.
start with one
And then
and
if it
see.
works
Yeah.
out well,
Yeah.
we can add it on. If it doesn't work, we can,
And Cooley's got a fair amount of
Cooley does too.
damage too.
Yeah. Start with
But
those
I'm-
two.
Well, if you start with two, I think we should start
Favor
partway.
starting
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, start with those two and see how they work.
Would they send a tech to look at this?
I will ask them.
That'll
I
tell
know,
us
and I
if we
don't
need
even know why I
two
said
or
four,
one in the
because we don't
middle.
need one on Hammond.
No,
Not really.
No, nobody's driving through that.
Right, that's not, you know?
Chad could probably say.
You'd only want that for vandalism. type
Right,
thing.
which, I mean, we
We-
have talked about cleaning that up and stuff,
Well,
but,
let's try with those,
Five.
let's try with two, yeah, and let's see how it goes.
no, that's a good
Yeah.
idea, yeah.
Well, and if we go, what the heck is that thing? If we went with, so that's 5, so if we do those 2 bridges and half, if we can get Proctor to split, the 5 camera standard plan would cover
It would
us.
cover it, yeah.
And where did they send the video?
I believe it can go to cell phone, so it could go to like my cell phone and Chad's cell phone.
Yeah.
Our police don't have cell phones provided by us, correct? They do?
They do, yeah, they do.
That's
I
what
would
we should
think we'd
go
want
to.
it going to the police, that's where you'd think it would go.
We can have it go to the police.
Or at least one, somebody, I don't know how you do that. Well,
Yeah, I
might be
don't know
wor- might be
those-
worth asking, how many can we have it sent to, yeah?
Right, I know, cause it wouldn't, if it was like Ann and then someone on the police department. Yeah, if it could be more than one person, that would be cool, but.
I guess my
Oh, I
other,
see
I
that.
think you
right,
can.
my other question would be, so at 30 gigabytes of storage, does it start kicking
Overriding.
old stuff out and putting new in? So it's a revolving,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it does.
Yeah, it's a 30-day cloud history unless we pay for more.
Which we wouldn't need that, I mean, once we know.
They need it live,
Once
pretty
we know it's
much.
damaged, we go look, you know, we don't need.
right, what I'm, no, but I'm just, yeah.
We can record anything that's
Sure.
on our transfer.
You
it.
should be able to back an incident up to a drive or a PC or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this the only company we talked to?
No, I had talked to Verizon before and they were supposed to get me information and they didn't. Cause Verizon is who we've had. T-Mobile's trying to get our business and they're trying to get our cell phones and everything, but there's a lot to decide
We can
on.
play.
No, to
We
make
need the
this
best
a, make this a
coverage
good
for
deal.
our cell phones if the police are involved.
Well, if they've gotten
Stay
better.
away from,
They may be able to go to more than one phone, I'm sure.
I know.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask if they have a tech to help set up and how many can it be sent to,
Okay.
or if there's a link that we can go in and view it, that kind of thing, so multiples of us could have the link to view whatever happens to.
Alright.
Yeah, cause we've gotta buy all these cameras.
Right, you just gotta figure out what camera we want to.
this may help our police if they're wondering where somebody fled to.
Well, that's, I know, I remember just a few, 2-3 years ago, when, Depot got hit and all that, there was a bunch of like vehicle parts, actually, I mean, they hit the bridge hard enough, they left parts of the vehicle, and then we just never were able to find out who it
Who
was,
did
and
it?
it would have been great to have gotten a shot of that,
Then we
you
had-
know?
Maybe if you could describe to them what our situation we wanna use it in, maybe they can make a recommendation of which one would fit that best. And then, maybe we should just leave it with Ann to make a decision on what type they recommend, and
Yeah,
we don't wanna go upper end, but we wanna have something that covers.
Right.
Tell them to go do the
Fair?
job.
yeah.
Yeah, I can bring it back to you
yeah.
too, once we know what their answers are for this stuff too.
Yeah.
Also, and I feel kinda silly that I didn't do this already in preparation for tonight, but reach out to Beth Brown at the Covered Bridge Society and just see
Yeah, see-
what they,
yeah, what they
you know,
recommend,
if
if
she
they-
has an idea of
What
kind
they're
of
doing on some of them.
what other, you know,
Yeah,
like
maybe
what
they've got 'em.
Lindenville and some of the other towns that have a lot of bridges that get hit are using.
What was that town up north that just put that big steel thing?
I thought that was
Oh, yeah.
Lindenville,
Oh,
no?
that'll
Yeah.
stop them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
that'll
yeah,
slow
they got
down.
a beautiful thing.
It
They,
was nice.
it
It's
was
actually
nice.
pretty.
It's
I
actually
know.
nice. I
Would
saw
they
that.
put
And looking
Occasion
at
in front?
these. it
Right in
looks
front of the
like
bridge,
this
yeah, like, I don't know,
really
15, 20 feet
Go
before the
15
bridge.
plus 4K.
Big steel beam
set
across there.
up
You hit that sucker, you're gonna know it.
But it's decorative.
Determine
But it's a decorative.
humans or
Yeah.
vehicles, so you may be able to, it would be
Oh.
nice if it was set up so that it only picked up stuff that's
Motion
big enough to
activation.
hurt the bridge.
Yeah.
Right.
And not get every bicycle
Yeah,
and motorcycle.
I'm wondering if we can
and
tilt
car.
it or not, angle it the right way so that
Excuse me.
if it is a bigger truck, it would,
Well, yeah, but you still gotta get the plate, so
yeah.
you can't angle it.
They might have a good
But this
recommendation.
my question would be on this one, if it can be set up to pick up, differentiate between cars and trucks. Because you're gonna have a ton of video
We
with
also have,
every vehicle that goes through.
but we also have instances where kids go in the bridge and burn their tire. We've had bridges catch fire,
That's what I thought we were after.
yeah.
Okay,
And that's for the vandalism also.
Yeah,
You lose a bridge due to fire.
Brandon.
No kidding.
No,
I
yeah,
know.
we've had, I can remember two that we've gone and put fires out on the covered
Okay.
bridges.
Salisbury lost their whole.
And we lost
there.
a whole covered
Yeah.
bridge years ago.
Yep.
Isn't that what happened to Sanderson?
Brandon lost one by fire. So there's two in this
yeah,
area.
that was.
That was
kids
torched.
lit
Oh, yeah,
on
they,
fire.
oh,
That
yeah,
wasn't
well, this one
fire.
was
Probably if
torched.
we get those answers, I think we can
Yeah.
make a
Yeah,
logical
we can
decision.
play with them, I think.
Yeah.
All right,
See
cool.
what-
Do you wanna
Yeah.
table that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, okay, resignation from Otter Creek Communications Union District. So Greg Hiltz had resigned, so we have just one person who I did talk to and said that he, he makes most of the meetings, I don't know, if we know anybody that would like to be a second, that would be great. But it sounds like a lot of towns are having a hard time getting to, so.
So I talked to the woman again last night who's been emailing all of us, and she said that most towns are just the one person is what.
Yeah.
So if we don't find an alternate, she's
Right.
like, it's not a big deal.
So we should maybe just put it out there that if anybody is interested in being an alternate on the communications district, that would be great. But we do have a rep who is still interested in being involved, so.
Good.
Thank you for talking.
Okay,
You need to-
and then, so
you
that
need to-
appointment form, because,
You need
yes,
to appoint him, like do an official vote or.
we have to reappoint Brett.
Brett, yeah.
Okay, so Brett Mullen, who's currently been our rep and is interested in continuing on, so.
motion to reappoint Brett Mullin.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Zoning, ZBA resignation.
So I got,
We talk about moving this to executive session. I have a comment. Is that possible?
I don't know how to legally do that now that we,
Brings me back to a phone call I had before I saw this.
okay.
Well, I think we can.
I think we can.
You can
We're
just
talking
make
about
a
this right now.
comment
Yeah.
that it's been moved to executive session,
Yeah.
but it'll have to be included in the executive session
Yep.
Sure.
Okay,
findings.
all right, I just wanted to make sure that was, all right, then
Yep.
sure.
Let's do that.
Okay. Okay, FY '25, finally got our audit.
well, you got your.
And now we got the
well,
contract
you
for
got
next
50
year.
You got fiscal year '24, fiscal year
Right.
'25 is the one.
Sorry,
we're
you're
right
right,
now.
you're
That's right, yeah.
Yes, I apologize. So, yeah, so we have the contract for,
I read through that whole thing on the plane ride
did you?
and stayed
Budget?
awake the whole time. No, I read the whole thing.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Anything
budget?
jump out
No,
at you?
no, everything, Ian said it looked straight. I couldn't see anything that,
Okay.
perfect time to do it on a 5-hour plane ride. So,
Yeah,
I gave up on it.
is
yeah, I read some of it.
this quote that came in for next time, is
Yeah.
that a little bit more than last time?
It's a little bit more.
It's more, yeah.
What was the,
We didn't really go to bid, did we?
25 too.
we
I,
paid more, weren't we paying more for,
I thought it was 30. wasn't it?
I know, I thought we paid 30 something for,
Sullivan Powers we did in the past.
yeah.
I did reach out to Sullivan Powers, I never heard back from
Eh.
them. According to Helen, there are several towns desperately looking for an auditor, and I know that it's on the VLCT classifieds, there's several towns looking right now. I believe you're going to find that Sullivan Powers and RHR are the only two that are now gonna be doing municipal audits.
Which means we need to nail them down soon
We
because.
need to nail them down. I did ask Helen today because they gave us 30 days to sign the contract or whatever. I asked Helen if you guys approved them tonight and signed the invoice, if she would cut a check tomorrow, because our next meeting is out of that window and I wanna make sure we're covered
Yep, okay.
if we're going with them, and she agreed that she would accept that, to be able to pay them tomorrow.
Okay.
This was the first year they did it, right? Or
No,
was
this
it-
is the
Second.
second.
Second year.
No, I mean, the one they just did was the second?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I don't see a reason to go with them one more. Not to go with them
Yeah.
for another one.
Yep,
Yeah.
I know. I think we should, you know.
I think it's good to change auditors occasionally. In this
Sure.
sequence, they've only done 2.
Yep.
And we've had,
Isn't it on a
our,
3-year
the
trial?
lead for our audits has been a different person each year too, so it hasn't been the same people with RHR. The first year I dealt with, a woman who's actually moved up in the company, and she actually does a different part of Vermont now. And then this year it was a woman by the name of Samantha Ruggles that I dealt with. So even within RHR, we're being changed, so that it's not the same people looking at our stuff year after
I
year.
think that's good. I would like to make a motion. We go with this, proposal for this year.
Do you have a dollar amount?
I do. Let me make sure it's exact.
26.4.
I have 26.4, is that correct? $26,400.
Any mention on time, on the timely manner of
So-
getting them?
They did tell me that the sooner we sign the contract, we could lock in the dates. I
Yeah,
talked to
right.
Helen today. I'm going to try to push that we get this audit done before Pat leaves. So
And
that,
she's leaving in August?
she's leaving the first week of
First of
August.
August.
Wow,
We don't have a
okay.
lot of
So
time.
it's,
July and August.
it's gonna be tight and we might not be able to do it. If not,
Something to reach
I've
for, I
pulled most of the
suppose.
data myself anyways the last 2 years.
Okay.
We may have to call Pat in if we can't figure it out. I'm hoping Stormy will pick up the information quick enough that we should be
I would
able
think
to
if we
handle
need
it.
her for a couple extra
Oh,
weeks
I'm
to
sure
get
she
it done,
would,
I think, if she would, I think
Right.
that's very acceptable.
Sure.
So I did have an extensive conversation with Helen today about trying to get it done quicker so we could get it back quicker.
Do you work with them on the audit?
RHR, yes, I
No,
do.
I
You
know.
got a second,
I
really,
know. Do we have a
before start
second?
Conversation.
Right.
Do we have a second?
Not for me, you don't.
I'll second. Go,
No,
did
I
you
wouldn't
have,
have
were you
one.
starting asking a question, Dan? Another?
I was just asking how
Oh.
it goes, and with her background, if she works with them on that.
I do.
Kind of,
Yep.
And I took over, Sullivan Powers used to do our depreciation for us and everything. I took it over when I started here because I wanted us to do it in-house and have control of our asset lists ourselves. So we now control our asset list and we control the depreciation. So every year I work on the NEMRIC program we have, and it helps calculate the depreciation, but I double check all the assets and I go through with our department heads that have assets and make sure what's listed is what they still have and go through and update it.
That's excellent.
so, just to throw it out there, are you qualified to do this whole thing,
An audit,
this audit?
I am not. I did not get my CPA.
Has to be a separate audit
We have to have
anyways.
it
You have to have it
separate.
separate.
You can't have an in-house
Yeah, we
audit.
couldn't do that.
No,
anyway.
it needs to
So,
be out of
if my
house.
understanding is there's only 2 shows in town anyway, am I right?
It's getting down to that,
Getting
yes.
to
I haven't
I,
heard back from one.
Haven't heard back from one.
well, we had a town manager that burnt that bridge, lit it on fire, poured gasoline on it again and exploded it. So,
There you go.
I'm trying really hard to patch things up
Well,
and
maybe my
I-
manager.
So they're not interested in bidding on
They
it?
were a little bit ticked, I think.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
So I think in order to get this ball rolling,
In a little bit of defense, it is a good thing to change auditing
I
firms.
agree.
ourselves. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
have used that same
Absolutely.
firm for a long time.
Like a really long time.
And you need to change. I've been involved with ones that don't change, and all of a sudden there's a problem.
We were burnt before though, too,
Yeah.
just prior to this, so
Well-
that's why I'm,
Well,
yeah, I agree.
You
At
have
some
to-
point.
but when you get rid of one, you don't burn the bridge.
Yeah.
That's right, that's what we
Which
did.
is what's happened, but I guess, I don't like the timeliness of how this.
I don't
came to us.
either.
It's ridiculous. So I guess I would,
Choice we have.
I mean, there's nothing else we can do but have this firm again. But I do think we need to try to mend with Sullivan and
Mend some
Powers
fences,
and
yeah.
see if maybe in another year or two.
We put out a
can
good
get
bid.
them. Cause 5 years is long enough to be with anybody.
Yep.
does
We
the
need to
contract
change.
include a product date? a completion date?
They don't, but I do know that they said, one, they've worked on their issues and the new regulations that they've been handed from the federal government GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles, which even governments have to fall under to a certain extent. And they are hoping, and they've hired more people, so they're hoping that they will be able
Could we
to.
try to attach a completion date? When ideally should we have it?
We should have it before town meeting.
Yeah, I would put that right on with a check
Well,
on the
that's what
signed
I'm wondering.
contract if you're gonna do it.
I am
Will
going
they,
to,
will they give us a presentation like,
They didn't even do that.
no, I know,
They used
cause,
to come down and do it.
Sullivan and Powers used to
Always
sit,
came.
like, actually come to a select board meeting and
except
give
for
us
the
the
last
highlights,
year,
you know?
they did not come the last year.
Or more than that. Was it one or two that they?
that they
Sullivan
stopped doing
Powers
it.
Didn't come.
Cause they didn't come the year I started.
I only saw him once.
Those are the
A
only
presentation
ones.
would be
The other time we
great,
did.
if not, I mean, at least getting it before town
In a
meeting so we can
timely
all
manner.
go over it, you know,
And I can request those.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm gonna try to get as early as humanly possible
Okay.
for our audit so that they didn't start it until late September last
Okay.
year, so.
Okay.
So our information is ready and available to them at the end of, like, early in July?
We can get most of it by then. There is gonna be some stuff because the way municipalities are not, you usually have either accrued or cash basis. Governmental accounting is a modified accrual basis. So if somebody pays their taxes late into August, you can push that revenue back into June. So we, technically, some of the stuff we're not gonna be able to complete until August 30th, but we can get enough of it, and our delinquencies are not that significant at this point, so it wouldn't be that bad to push back just a little bit we do have. So I think it would be okay, from what I've seen in the entries that we've had to do in the past, to shove things into the right year buckets. I think it would be doable.
All right, we ready for a vote? Does anybody have any other questions on that?
We are.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Reluct-
opposed?
I'll say aye, but reluctantly.
Okay.
Way to be reluctant, Tom.
This will be my last aye if it
Okay.
doesn't go good.
Well, if
right.
we don't get it on time. Yeah.
That was your main issue, Thomas.
Yeah,
That's
that, and,
terrible.
yeah, I just,
But we know the
they
choice.
didn't do it way.
No,
some
that's
way
what I'm
to
saying.
get
If we don't
them
get
done.
one, we
Well,
got
the
a real
first year
problem.
RHR was here, they came and did a presentation.
All right.
Hey, could I ask one question of Ann about this before we're all done with that?
Yep.
So, I know audits usually get done every year. We have an issue with the lack of auditors. Is there any chance that we could move to go into a 2-year audit program? Why not?
I don't
Required.
believe so.
Why not?
Because, our USDA grants require an audit every
An
year.
annual audit.
An annual audit in order
Of
for us,
all of our work for the USDA grants?
for our water, sewer and everything, yes.
So the whole town has to get audited just for that?
Yep.
Because we have several grants through USDA.
See,
and
there's the problem.
loans.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, what are the grants compared to the, right? I mean.
They are substantial. I mean, there's your USDA loans that are mapped out. I mean, they're millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, I know that,
I
I'm
don't
just
disagree
saying,
that it's.
there's a
Yeah,
stipulation.
I think they
It's,
probably project the time that they've got to spend to do an audit. And if they're doing 2 years, I don't know if they save much or not. I don't know.
I'm just, sometimes you ask the other question.
Yeah.
Because, these expenses every year for late delivery on product is
Yeah.
kind of getting old.
The only other thing you can do, I believe, as a town is you can vote to do, in-house audit. So you have people from the community that run as auditors and they audit your books. You're taking a risk that they don't know what they're doing. You're taking a risk that they don't have the financial
We have that risk with
capability.
some of these firms.
I am fully aware
No,
of
I'm
that.
I'm seriously,
Oh, I'm fully aware of
Yeah,
that. I'm
yeah.
just letting you know that there are some towns that still have in-house audits.
if you think of any options for this, I think we should review in the future. If
Yeah,
that's
let's keep
possible
an
and
open
meet our
mind going
criteria
forward,
for
I guess.
USDA, I think
going
we should look
forward,
at it.
Yeah.
But if you have any ideas, I think you should
And
put them forward.
what I can do is,
Finish up your credentials.
oh my God,
Still
yeah,
can't
yeah,
do
why
it
don't you get that
in-house.
CPA?
I would have to go work for a public,
Yeah.
accounting firm for a minimum of 6 years.
Yeah, no.
Jeez.
Fraud examiners 3, because that was one of the things I was
I
actually
was just
looking at
wondering if there
doing.
might be some stipulations in the USD agreement so we could. Or
I-
ask for a variance, you never know.
Never know.
I
How
can
do
look.
we solicit
But-
these bids?
So the last time that we ended up with RHR, we put it out to bid and we actually physically mailed copies. I got a hold of Sarah Macy, who's like an accounting guru when it comes to governmental accounting she did work for VLCT, now she works for the city of St. Albans. And she gave me 4 firms that have done municipal audits before. I sent it to all 4 and none of them actually responded. And then Dave had used RHR before, so he got on the phone and begged. And that's how we ended up with RHR.
All right, let's
Yes,
move on
move
to Route 7, no parking signs. So I was glad to see
Yeah, I saw
that we can ticket for parking on the sidewalk without signs everywhere. Because does anyone else notice that all of a sudden there are people parking on sidewalks like consistently
Yeah.
all through the village?
All
Like
through
all of
the-
a sudden, like everywhere I look. And then of course there was the church recently, but I guess,
They'd asked
did
for
they give you a
permission.
heads up that that was
That
going
was
on?
for a funeral Saturday at 11, and we also had an event at the elementary school
Okay,
because
yeah.
it was the
Yep.
indoor yard sale event thing for
Okay,
first
yeah.
response. So they did come and ask, and
That's good.
Which is good that that's, but I just in general, I mean, I'm just like seeing it everywhere. And it's, yeah.
Trashy.
I mean, it's
Trashy looking.
Not even that, I mean,
unsafe.
we just paved all those.
Yeah, and it's not safe. I
They're
mean,
not
it's
meant,
close
they're
to
meant to
Route
hold
7.
people
People,
walking, not ton.
Yeah, not for
you know,
parking.
A
But
one-ton
they-
pickup truck or whatever, and then also people walking shouldn't,
Correct.
that's the whole point of
Shouldn't-
sidewalks is to keep people safe, not to have them go in the road, or in the case of my son recently, had to go in front of someone's front yard where then a dog came out and tried to bite him when he was,
Yeah.
because there was a big truck was blocking the sidewalk, like, it's just like not cool.
We put
So
something
we
in our
can't ticket
newsletter.
without putting
We
signs
can't.
up? We don't want
So-
signs up.
That's,
Wow.
you know,
Let's ticket them.
And Furnace
Hold on.
Road is another place where if somebody's turning left, I watched, and I won't say the company's name, but a very major company in this area, one of their trucks driving
Right
right
around.
down our side, around the truck. And it was like, really? You know, you get a big green name on the back?
you know, a couple times, obviously, since living there, I'm there all the time, ready to take a left, and sometimes I'll see somebody behind me, and I don't mean to be a jerk, but it makes me mad, so I'll like move my car over so that they can't go, but it's like, I'm like, why are you gonna drive on the sidewalk?
Well,
Wait-
yeah,
wait 10 seconds.
10
seconds, yeah.
exactly.
So,
And they're, down here, they're parking so close to the road that their car's gonna get hit. They're within a foot
Yeah.
of
Where's
the
this
travel,
Right in the village.
right in the village,
On
just
the hill
above Keys.
before Kamuta's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new sidewalk.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they are
Yes.
within a foot of the
Oh, yeah,
travel
no,
portion
they're
of the
right
highway.
there,
They're
yeah.
right
All right,
there.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's a couple trucks consistently in front of one of the houses that's, over by the old, did you say Poro's Pizza Pit? Did you just talk about
Yes.
that? Yeah.
cow
Yeah,
store.
down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we can have the police department can ticket them for being
Yeah.
little.
They all, and
Let's go.
again, I walk that enough, there's a lot of parking behind all those houses, so I'm not sure
Lazy.
why, you know.
Don't wanna walk that far. So let's get them ticketed. We'll put
So-
signs up.
Right, so there's that, and then, but that's really not even I kind of went a little off topic there, because really, it's about the town was told to remove the no parking signs because they were installed by the town without a permit.
And I don't remember that myself. They've been there for years, not,
So, but some of, they're mostly gone, if
They're all
noticing,
gone.
they're
they're
all
all
missing,
gone,
okay.
they're all gone.
Yep,
Be short and stuff to do.
So
up
we
there.
need to do that, have the state do
So,
that.
my question, which is why I was on here, do you want me to go through the formal request
Sure.
of official no parking?
Hell, yes,
yes, please.
definitely.
So it was the state that had a problem with our no parking signs?
Yes, because we didn't go through a formal request process.
Apparently they got some new honcho down there that,
Doesn't have
Flapping
anything
his-
else to do.
Nothing
yeah,
else to
flapping
do.
his wings and saying, you know, they didn't do that right, so, you know. Don't get me going on
Too
that.
bad we couldn't find paperwork that we did.
Exactly, I know.
And he spelled weather wrong, but that's okay.
That
All
was- I
right.
don't even point that was, been
You
years.
know,
Where's my red pen when I need it?
Red pen.
Oh wait, yeah, isn't your mom in English, wasn't she in English?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Corrected every day.
All right, anything on the orders?
Nope.
Okay, we can start signing those.
Do you
Hey,
want-
so I just went to this Proctor Select
Oh,
Board
orders.
meeting on Monday night, and
I have a question.
they don't sign orders in public. Do we have to do that?
Yes.
Yes, you should.
But I didn't
Definitely.
mean to just call them out, and I just,
So did I miss
like, I
that?
was hoping that the answer was gonna be no. I mean, it
Oh,
just
no,
seems
you're
like it
supposed
takes
to
a
sign
while.
orders in
That's part of
public.
the
I have a
open
question.
meeting
That's an
law.
open meeting law.
Yeah,
They're,
we're
they're going against it.
Air compressor relocation
What's
for
this?
$1,300?
Yes, so that's,
that?
This is
that's
just her?
the thing that fills their SCBA units, and it's a monster
Yeah.
machine.
Why do we have
they-
to move them? Why is it so expensive?
We had to move it because we had to get a new one because our old one was not up to code.
Okay.
So we had to get it up to code and redo wiring, I
What is
think,
this,
in order to get it up to
416?
code.
Yes.
Oh, we didn't get a new one, we just rewired.
We got a new one.
Okay.
I think the fire department paid for it themselves, and we paid for the
Just me one,
rewiring.
I guess.
What was that on again?
The SCBA refill station
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that was out of whack.
Only need one signature on this,
It was
right?
one of the things that I think, Major or the Found or somebody like that came and did the inspections.
Okay, that was the only question.
Want them to sign that?
Yes, because I need a check for it and it's not on the orders.
It's getting harder to find problems with
I'm
the
gonna
orders.
add the
Nudities,
13.
you know, years ago, we used to go through it.
Yeah, I know.
So now it's like,
You all have to sign that, she just said,
Oh,
because
we
that's
all
the
gotta sign it?
RHR.
Because it's not on any of the orders and I need a check before our next meeting in order to meet the requirements. So Helen told me if I had all of you sign the invoice that she can cut
yeah,
this.
that minutes I
You
can
gotta
sign.
sign, no,
No? This, let's sign that one too?
Oh, no, don't
No.
sign that one.
Tom, why haven't
no.
so
That
much
one-
problems
that-
down
no.
there?
No.
Tom,
Why haven't so many problems?
give me
Well,
that,
because you're doing,
give me that back. That's not being signed.
that's why I got problems. She's throwing stuff here.
I thought we were redoing this.
We're not ready for that.
That's
I
not
thought-
the nudity orange. Nudity
No,
orange
that's
is
over
right
here.
here.
What is that one?
It says public nudity ordinance.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. It says right on there. I'm
Says
reading
right
it.
on
Oh,
it, nudity.
Throw that back then.
All right, throw that back to me.
these two already signed. And,
throw-
did you sign too? Ah, see, we caught it over here.
Oh, that's, I shredded the last one that you guys all signed without any of us realizing it too.
Go
so
back.
Yep.
That goes back.
I'm gonna shred it right here in public.
See?
Take the paperclip off.
Hey, I'm just moving them as I'm giving them.
Look at that.
You're just
Yeah,
like,
guess who's their
We're reviewing on this side for accuracy.
They're the reviewers down there.
Tom is not the auditor in question.
No.
Don't forget you have liquor board too, and I have that here to sign when you guys are ready.
Actually, I'm gonna start doing that,
So
well,
this,
no, we'll just-
this invoice from RHR,
We have to
First
put
payment.
50%.
get that, but that's 50% ahead.
Oop,
Tell them to get on it.
that's mine.
I gotta look, I'm looking.
Having to hold this
I
paper.
am looking. Make sure what I'm doing here.
God, is that it?
A little bit of caution here.
I think so.
There.
Until you approve this, and then we're just gonna send this around to make Helen happy.
Yep, okay, so,
That's time call. Yep.
recess our open meeting and open up as the liquor board, where we have Rolling Roosters First Class Restaurant Bar License.
Make a
No
motion to approve
issues
it.
there.
No, no
She just
issues.
renewed
Motion
her
to
contract for 3 years.
Make a motion, we approve it.
Already did, you gotta
Did it?
second it. You gotta open your ears.
I did before you
Any
did, but that's
questions
okay.
about
I'll second it. I'll switch my
No,
first to
you're
a
staying
second.
now,
Okay,
which is exciting, I know.
They just
But I
signed a
did do it
3-year
before you did.
contract.
That's
No,
great.
I did it and you started talking.
I know the
I did.
kids and I just ate there twice recently.
They're open for brunch on Sundays now.
Yeah, we went on Sundays, it was delicious. Brogan got like a breakfast
Where do
burger.
you want us to sign this one on the back?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Anyways, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, leaving liquor board, opening back up as select board. And if I could please have hold on, I can't do two things at the same
Can't do two
Can't
things
talk,
at once.
talk and chew gum at the same time.
If I could please have a motion to go into executive session in accordance with 1 V.S.A. 313A, where premature general public knowledge would clearly place the municipality or person involved at a substantial disadvantage to discuss the appointment, employment, or evaluation of a public officer or employee, provided that a public body must make the final hiring or appointment decision and explain its reasons for the decision in open meeting. 1 V.S.A. 313A3 to include the interim town manager.
So approved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, that ends our open meeting.